Hey, Shanna here. Welcome to my channel all about finding joy while learning to live well with autoimmune disease. I am so glad to have you here. So today I am talking 8 common mistakes people make when starting the autoimmune protocol. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So AIP mistake number 1 is starting the wrong way. And if you're like, wait, hold up, Shanna, I didn't think there was a right or wrong way to start AIP. You're right. So there is no right or wrong way to start AIP, but what I mean by people start the wrong way is they think they have to jump all in. They think they have to go all in at once, all the eliminations perfectly in order to start AIP, and that's not the case. Remember that AIP is not a one-size-fits-all healing protocol. It's important to understand that we're all different, we're all unique. We're all coming from different places. We're all coming from different histories, right? We each also have bio-individual needs, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But keep in mind that some people are going to thrive when they jump all in, when they focus on all the eliminations. Maybe they have a history of already going gluten-free or already going dairy-free, or maybe they are kind of familiar with paleo. And so jumping all in right away, 100% AIP is not going to be as difficult, theoretically, is not going to be as difficult for them as for someone who's never gone gluten-free, who's never tried dairy-free, who's never heard of paleo. So I found it's really important that we meet ourselves where we are, or if we're working with a client on AIP, that we meet them where they are and understand that some people thrive when they transition slowly to the autoimmune protocol, when they work on one elimination at a time and then they build confidence. And the other good thing about transitioning to the autoimmune protocol is that some may find that they don't need to do all of the eliminations. So if you're wondering what I did jump all in 100% AIP. It was hard, but I also already had a history of giving up caffeine, giving up gluten. I was vaguely familiar with paleo, and so I feel like I did have a head start. So please keep in mind that if you are struggling to start AIP, if you've started it and it hasn't worked, keep in mind that maybe you just started the wrong way for you. Maybe you need to approach it differently. Maybe you need to start AIP Lifestyle first, or AIP Mindset first, and just kind of put AIP Nutrition on the back burner. Speaking of AIP Lifestyle and Mindset, that brings me to AIP mistake number 2, which is focusing only on the nutrition side of the autoimmune protocol. So I've said it 100 times, I'll say it again, the AIP is not just about food. It's not. The autoimmune protocol, the AIP, includes nutrition and lifestyle protocols to help those of us with autoimmunity, those of us with chronic illnesses, to help us find relief from our symptoms. So a mistake I commonly see is somebody focusing only on the food, only on the nutrition, and meanwhile they're not sleeping, maybe they struggle with insomnia, they are under chronic stress, they're under an extreme amount of stress, they're not addressing any lifestyle factors at all. And so my tip for this is to don't forget the importance of AIP lifestyle, of sleep, of reducing stress, of finding the right kind of movement that feels best for your body, reducing toxins in your life, getting out in nature, connecting with others, and more. AIP lifestyle is so incredibly important. I know for me personally, sleep and stress are 2 of my biggest autoimmune triggers, and when I don't have those in line, it never fails. Symptoms start to slowly creep back up, and I'm like, I don't think so. I need to get this under wraps again. The other thing I see with this is people so focused on the food side of AIP that they're like so stressed out. They're stressed out to the max, and they're like, why isn't AIP working? And I'm like, because you're stressing yourself out. Mindset and lifestyle are so important. It's so important to adopt the AIP with ease and with self-love and with grace and with forgiveness and with a focus on progress over perfection. In my mind, it's not about being so rigid and so restrictive. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about lovingly finding a way to eat and to nourish your body and to live in a way that supports our health, that supports our autoimmune health. Please remember that lifestyle and mindset matter. Right, so speaking of AIP mindset, the 3rd common AIP mistake I see people make is not even addressing mindset when starting AIP or when living AIP. In my experience, both with myself and with my clients, mindset is the key to successfully navigating the autoimmune protocol and our autoimmune wellness journeys. I know that for me, I jumped all in AIP and I had so much grit, gonna do this, and that lasted me like 2 or 3 weeks before I realized I'm losing it. Like, I can't do this. And that's when I realized, okay, I need to change something in my mind. I've tried to change my eating, and I've changed my eating, but I need to address what's going on upstairs to successfully navigate my autoimmune wellness journey. Some things to work toward with AIP mindset, and I don't have time to take a deep dive into mindset in this video, otherwise it'd be super long, but some things to think about are finding gratitude, finding your why, learning to find joy even on your hardest days, choosing joy. Now that doesn't mean that you're not struggling, that you're not mourning your old life, which brings me to it's important that we do take time to mourn our old life and to process any grief that we need to process. Also, celebrating our victories is incredibly important. So many people are like AIP 100% perfect or nothing, and they're doing incredible things. They're changing the way they eat and they're changing the way that they live. And then they have one slip up and they hammer themselves. They get so mad at themselves that they're not doing it perfectly. And they're ignoring everything good that they've done. They're ignoring all the victories that they've had. And sometimes they even completely give up because of that one slip up. They think they're a failure and they're not. We get credit for all of the choices that we make to support our health. Every time we choose to eat whole foods, nutrient-dense foods at a meal, we get credit for that. Our body gives us credit for that. We may not realize it, but all of those little choices add up. When we sleep, we get credit for that. It may not feel like it at first. The trick is to focus on consistency and progress over perfection. And if you're like, well, Shanna, AIP works most effectively when it's followed 100% of the time, no cheating. Yes, you are right, but here's the thing. Some people are so focused on perfection that they let one hiccup, one mistake completely derail their whole journey, and that's not what this is about. How is that helping getting us closer to our goals? It's not. Another thing about AIP mindset I find is super important is focusing on having a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. And what I mean by that is thinking things like, why is this happening for me? How can I grow through this? What can I learn? When stumbling blocks happen, how can I approach them in a way that is creative? How can I problem solve? Knowing that when things feel hard, when things feel challenging, it's okay. I am learning and growing through that process. So common AIP mistake number 4 is focusing on what to exclude rather than on what to include. And if you're thinking, well, Shanna, I've kind of got to know what to exclude because I'm on this elimination phase and I need to know what not to eat. Yes, you are right. But what I am talking about is when people are focused only on what they can't eat. I can't have this. I can't eat that. Oh, I really want to eat that, but I can't. And they're not focusing on what to include. All of the vegetables they can include, all of the proteins they can include, the herbs and the spices and the healthy fats and the nutrient-dense fruits. There are so many different kinds of foods to include on the AIP. So if this is something you are struggling with, if all you can seem to think about is what you can't eat, I encourage you to think about what you can eat, what we get to eat, that we get this opportunity to nourish and to eat in a way that supports our health, that supports our body. One thing I had to realize early on in my AIP journey is that taste buds change. Yes, they do. They take some time. They take a few weeks, but taste buds can change. And if you're eating whole, unprocessed, nutrient-dense AIP foods, you're going to start to really appreciate how sweet fruit tastes and how amazing vegetables and protein tastes. Those are words I never thought I'd say, but it's true. Another thing that I try to do now is I try to see how many different colors of vegetables I can include in a day. And I also try to consistently try new vegetables that I haven't tried before, which is really fun, not just for me, but for our kids as well. So the 5th common mistake people make on the autoimmune protocol AIP is not eating enough food. What a lot of people don't realize, and what I didn't realize when I started AIP, is that usually the amount of food, the quantity of food that we eat on the AIP increases. Prior to the AIP, it's used to a lot of packaged foods, a lot of quick and grab and go stuff, protein shakes, things like that. When I transitioned to AIP and I started eating whole foods like lots of vegetables and proteins and healthy fats and some fruit, I soon realized that I needed to eat more. So if you're on the AIP, stop and think about if you are eating enough food. One thing that I like to make sure that I do, and I always have my clients do, is make sure we are macro balancing our meals, meaning that each and every meal includes a quality protein, a healthy fat, and carbs in the form of vegetables. Which brings me to common mistakes people make on AIP number 6, eating too many AIP packaged foods. The amazing thing is that there are some really tasty, really amazing AIP packaged foods out there. In fact, I have a whole blog post and video on AIP Snacks. And AIP packaged foods and snacks can be really helpful when traveling. Also to have on hand for those like busy days. I usually always keep an AIP packaged healthy snack in my purse, in my glove box for those busy days when life happens and I'm out doing something and something ran later and I just need something to hold me over until I get back home. So I'm not knocking AIP packaged foods, but I am saying to focus on whole foods, on unprocessed foods, unpackaged foods, nutrient dense foods, and your body will thank you. And now we are at AIP common mistake number 7, and that is forgetting about hydration. So hydration is incredibly important for health and wellness in general, and especially autoimmune health. So unfortunately, sometimes what I see is somebody start AIP and they're gung-ho and they're gonna do this and they're getting the food down and they're getting the lifestyle and oops, they completely forget about hydration, or they're kind of forgetting about hydration. And so they're not feeling as good as they would have felt if they had been. Keep in mind that mild and moderate symptoms of dehydration can look like some autoimmune symptoms. And so Shanna, how much water should I be drinking? Awesome question. Aim to drink at least half of your body weight in ounces of water each day. Keep it in mind if it's hot outside, if you're doing a strenuous workout, that your body is going to need more water than that. Also, to aid in digestion, generally speaking, I recommend drinking the bulk of your water away from meals and to sip your water throughout the day rather than just guzzling a few times a day. Okay, so that brings us to our last AIP common mistake, number 8. Last but not least, not troubleshooting and giving up too soon. So keep in mind in the beginning of the video, I talked a little bit about bioindividuality. Bioindividuality basically means we are all different. Each of us are unique. Our bodies are unique. The AIP is not a one size fits all. Just as autoimmune conditions can look different in different people, the AIP is going to look different in everybody. I've never seen the AIP look exactly the same in two people. So that's really cool, but it's also kind of hard because it's really important that we listen to our bodies, that we learn to listen to our bodies. And a lot of times those of us with autoimmune conditions who have gone through years of undiagnosed health symptoms and then finally found an answer, we're so used to pushing our body and saying, just go, be quiet, I don't want to listen to you right now, it's not convenient. And then we lose our health and we're like, okay, wait a minute, body, I'm really sorry, now I need to start listening to you, but we don't know how. That just takes time. It's a learning process. It's not easy. Sometimes it can involve keeping a food, mood, and lifestyle journals. And it's one of those things where it gets easier in time. The more that we try to listen to our body, that we're trying to read the symptoms and the signals and trying to learn, okay, I don't feel as well when I eat this, even though it's AIP, or I can't eat this and I feel great, or I don't feel well if I don't sleep well, or I don't feel well when I'm stressed out to the max, or I don't feel well if I don't get some movement in. It's a process, and there's so many ins and outs of AIP, and you do not need to learn it all today. This is not a race. This is not a sprint. This is more like a marathon. This is the rest of your life. You have time. You don't need to do all the things at once. If you feel inspired to and you want to, that's totally fine. Just make sure it's not coming at the cost of your health, that it's not coming at the cost of stress. Other quick tips about troubleshooting is that many of us with autoimmune conditions may need digestive support. We may need to work on our digestion, our gut health, our gut healing. We may have blood sugar regulation issues. We may need to make modifications for that. We may have a fatty acid imbalance. We may have a mineral and nutrient deficiency, and so on. There's so many ins and outs of troubleshooting. I encourage you just to take it one step at a time, and if you come to a point and you're like, AIP is not working, it just may need some tweaking. Also keep in mind the importance of understanding that the elimination phase of the nutrition side of the AIP is not meant to be lifelong. It goes elimination phase first, reintroduction phase next, and then the maintenance phase. If you have any questions or if you need more information on any of those phases, I have a blog post written for each of those phases, and I have a video for both the elimination phase and the maintenance phase. I filmed a video for the reintro phase, and that will be coming soon. So I'll put those links down below. But just know that this is a journey. This is your journey. You're gonna find your personalized AIP, your modified AIP, a way of eating and living that feels best for your health. So don't give up. You've totally got this. All right, so those are the common AIP mistakes. I hope this video was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions on anything I shared. I am happy to answer your questions. I'm happy to help. Please know I am cheering you on. Living with autoimmune disease is hard. It really is, but finding joy is possible. It is not easy. Totally speaking from experience here, finding joy while learning how to live well after my rock bottom, it's one of the hardest things I've ever done. And so if it feels hard to you today, please know you are not alone and that there is hope. And it's not going to be like, oh, I'm just feeling wonderful one day. Like, that's not how it is. It's a process, and it's not a linear process. There's ups and there's downs and there's in-betweens, and there's times when we have a great day and we feel amazing and we're like, whoa, did I just cure my autoimmune disease? And then the next day we do way too much and we're back in a flare and we're like, I guess not. And during those times when we do have a setback, part of the trick is to learn that that's part of the process and that it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you should give up. Just feedback. It's a learning process. So hang in there. No, I'm sending you so much love and support. My heart is with you. I wouldn't wish autoimmunity on my worst enemy. With that said, it's ended up being a big blessing in my life because I get to connect with autoimmune warriors like you. I get to love you and support you, and I've gotten to learn so much about myself and grow in ways I never thought I would. So remember, finding joy while learning to live well with autoimmunity is not easy, but it is worth it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and while you're down there, please comment and let me know a little bit about your story, about any questions that you have. Please hit subscribe. I appreciate your support and it helps my channel to grow. Have a wonderful week.